Today's a beautiful day. My name is Zionfelix. I'm about to have a very exciting, engaging, nice interview with one person that I really admire and respect. The very first time I met her, in fact, I was extremely happy because of what she's done for herself as a woman. I mean, we have so many people on this planet here in Ghana doing well for themselves. And then when I saw her, I was like, wow. She's done a lot for herself. My name is Zionfelix. And today, I'm about to talk to the CEO of Celeb Energy. So I've left the entertainment world and I've entered into a different arena because of where she started from, where she is at the moment. I'll be right back and I'll talk to Mrs. Beatrice Mensah, Tawi. I hope I had the name right. Tawi, right?
Tawi.
Tawi.
Yes. Tawi.
Tawi. I'll be right back after this break.
You've done the hard work, the analysis, the selection. It's all going according to plan. Until City miss a sitter, and you miss your multi-bet by one. Miss your multi-bet by one, and we will return up to 20 times your stake. We've got your back, even when City don't.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years.
Welcome back. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, Mrs. Is it Mrs. Mensah Tawi or Mrs. Tawi?
Mrs. Tawi.
Mrs. Tawi.
But Beatrice Mensah Tawi. You know, these days we always carry our dads along.
Yeah, but for the very first time hearing Tawi, I've never heard it before. Is it a Ghanaian name or a Chinese name? Because Tawi, unless China.
Or Japan.
In
right?
Japan, Korea, those Asian countries.
Actually, my husband is from Cameroon.
Oh, okay.
So, even in Cameroon, it's not a common name. So, it's just those one-off names.
Okay.
It's a universal name.
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
I'm very happy having
Thank
you.
Thank you.
I didn't get it easy, but I mean, at long last, the most important thing is you are here
Thank
for
you.
us to talk because I know you're a very busy woman. Did you always imagine yourself being this busy when growing up?
Actually, no. I never imagined myself being this busy. I just sort of thought I'll do all the right things. I'll be a lawyer, I'll raise my children, and that'll be it. But you know, God designs your life for you.
Okay.
So, what can I say?
So let me ask, when we mention Beatrice Mensah Tawi, I mean, who is she?
That's a very interesting question. Beatrice Mensah Tawi is a woman who loves God. First and foremost, is a woman who loves her children, who loves being a mother, enjoys being a wife, and enjoys what she does in the corporate world.
Oh, okay.
And so I also say I'm a naturally happy person.
Oh, okay. I
Because
can see that.
if you don't make yourself happy, no one else is going to do it.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. So, in the corporate world, what do you do? Because you enjoy doing what you like best in the corporate world.
We've come a long way. I own an oil and gas company. And so we do have operations upstream on the exploration side. And now we've diversified and starting to do a lot of work on the downstream side. We also have operations in water treatment. We have operations in real estate. So we try to manage as we go along. But quite honestly, we truly follow the opportunities that God brings our way.
Okay.
So that's
All in
how
Ghana
we
here
operate.
or other parts of the world?
We have operations in Cote d'Ivoire. We used to have operations in Liberia, Sierra Leone, Benin, Togo before Ebola came about. So after the Ebola outbreak, we had to close down some of our operations in Africa. But now we still have operations in Gabon and Congo Brazza.
Okay. So let us know a little bit about your background because before we started the interview, I told you that I thought you were Nigerian. Very first time I walked into your office, the way you were pronouncing certain words, I thought, oh, she's a Nigerian doing well here in Ghana and then in the States. Until you just told me that you are never.
Very much so. And I do hear that a lot about, you sound like Nigerian, but maybe it's the pidgin.
Yeah.
When I try to speak pidgin, it kind
go
of comes
off to
off
Nigeria. Yeah.
precisely. But I always say I have a lot of Nigerian friends. They're great people. They're our cousins. So, no, I'm an Ewe girl,
Okay.
number 9.
Number 9.
Very much so. From Keta, Jelukope.
So
Yes.
F1.
Yo, Mefo.
I can say anything.
You can see.
So what's your favorite ever food? Angona food.
My favorite is okra
Okra.
and banku. Yes, banku and okra.
That's not ever food.
Well,
That's a general food.
Well, it's not so general. It's still, but I also love akple.
Yeah, akple is what everybody eats.
Yes.
From the ever place.
Kita schoolboys.
Yeah, that's small.
That's small.
So let's look at growing up. I mean, where were you born? At what age did you leave Ghana to wherever you went to?
Actually, we straddled between, my parents were in London and then they moved to Cameroon, and then from Cameroon to Ghana to Chicago. So I kind of see myself as a global citizen because, I sort of feel like I've lived all over the world, and but went to school in Chicago and still live in Chicago.
Okay.
And also in Accra.
Okay.
And typically what I've done is that I've gone back and forth like every other month. But this week actually made it 1 year since I've just been in Accra straight without going anywhere.
Wow.
So COVID actually taught me to sit still and sit in one spot and love my country more.
How's it feeling like? I mean, every month you go, you come, and now one straight year, you've not even entered a flight.
I know, right? I've actually lost that excitement of traveling from one place to the other. Only because what COVID did was it sort of sent me a message, and I think it was a spiritual message. Be still and know that I am God. That's the message I got from COVID. And so it helped me to really reevaluate things, reevaluate life, and take and understand what God wants for me as opposed to what I want for myself. Because in the grand scheme of things, I really don't want that much for myself. I want to be a vessel that God can use. I want to be someone and try to be someone who can develop and inspire others to be the best versions of themselves. And so I feel that whatever we do, however we do it, in the grand scheme of things must give glory. And it must be for a greater purpose than just trying to be wealthy or trying to be successful. Success without empowering and developing others is really failure upside down.
Okay. So, what has COVID come to teach you as an individual?
COVID has come to teach me the brevity of life. You can be here today, gone tomorrow. We lost a lot of friends, we lost family members, and it almost seemed like we were fighting a war without being able to see the enemy. And so sometimes you actually think that you can plan about tomorrow, you can plan about next year. And I always say, get over yourself, because it's not about you. It's about the ability to take things one stride at a time. I looked at what was going on in the world and I said, look, if they had told any of us to say lockdown for 1 week, 2 weeks, no leader would have said it was possible. But you see, it took a microscopic virus to shut us down. It just goes to show you, we as humans, our power is really limited. That's what it's come to tell me. And we need to try to be our brother's best keeper. We need to try to show more compassion. We need to check on one another more. We need to show more love, because you just don't know about tomorrow. You really, really don't. And I say this from the bottom of my heart, because sometimes we make unimportant things important. We make unimportant people important. Meanwhile, we just have to take that time. I think about during the COVID time, a lot of the market women were still there in the market selling so that we could eat. They are the backbone of the economy, I always say, and they get the least amount of credit. You see, so we must celebrate one another from the highest person to the lowest person. And there's no such thing as a lowest person.
Yeah.
We are all created in one image. We are all entangled together. And the sooner we get past the pretenses, the better.
She is Mrs. Beatrice Mensah, the CEO of Celeb Energy. Let's go back to knowing you. I mean, education, where did you start from? Where did you get to? What did you study? And then how did you get to become the almighty CEO of Celeb Energy?
Yes, I did my, actually I did my basic school in Cameroon because my parents were there. I did my high school. Right after high school, I moved to Chicago.
Okay.
And so I did college in Chicago, had my bachelor's degree in economics and finance. Economics and a minor in business.
Okay.
So a Bachelor of Science in Economics and Business. And immediately I got done with school. Pfizer hired me out of college.
Okay. Who's Pfizer?
Pfizer is one of the, I'm sure you take their vaccine one of these days.
Oh, okay.
They're one of the Fortune 50 corporate companies. It's a pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
So I worked in the pharmaceutical industry, Pfizer, Hoffman LaRoche, Johnson & Johnson. And then right after that, quite honestly, I started to hit that glass ceiling and felt like, I need to do something for myself. I didn't even know what I was going to do. But there was an urge that said, you've outgrown this. And everyone around me thought I was crazy. Because it's like, this is the kind of job, an executive job, you know, it's a corporate job. They're flying you business class around. When I was, excuse me, I was pretty young then. You know, in your 20s and you're jet setting, you're a serious executive. And then I was actually on my way to law school. I'd actually gotten admission into law school. And I said, you know what? I have this offer. What am I going to do with it? At each point, we all get confused in our career paths. And my husband said to me, you know, the one thing with you, you don't need a JD behind your name to feel good about yourself. So take this opportunity because friends of yours who are in the state's attorney's office are making half what they're offering you. And so I said, okay, I'll take it for a year and then go back and go to law school. This was 89. When did I start with Pfizer? 90? 91?
Oh.
Yes.
That's
eons
29 years ago.
It was right after college. That was like my first job was an executive job.
Wow.
So it just goes to show you how God can prepare you. Yeah.
Which job was that?
That was the job as an executive in Pfizer.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I started as a sales rep and then moved into management. And they trained me for everything. I can tell you, coming out with an economics background, this is a healthcare pharmaceutical company. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know anything about medical terminology. I don't know anything about medicine. And here I am thrust in the world of medicine. How am I going to do this? And they said to me, we've seen your GPA. We know how smart you were in school. And we know we can train you to do just about anything. And I said, okay, I'll take on the challenge.
Before you go on, what was the GPA?
Oh, I'm not going to say.
What was that GPA?
It was 3.9 on 4.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. It should have been 4 on 4, but the Indian kids wouldn't let you do a 4.0. So I had a 3.9 on 4. Wow. And yeah. So that helped a lot because they were right. You know, if you apply yourself and you can really be taught to do anything. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power. You know, I always say you can transfer the CEO of AT&T or of MTN can move and run another company. Yeah. The reason is because the principles are the same, the products are different. Your principles of governance are always the same. So in that leadership, you know that you can move from one company to the other. And it's for that reason also that they could train me, give me the corporate credo, and at the same time, I could still move from one pharmaceutical company to the other and also transfer into the oil sector.
So how many years did you work there?
I now went into to think that I was going to do it for about a year or 2 years and then go back to law school. But I tell you, the corporate grooming was amazing. It's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing today, because once you train someone right and you give them the right principles, they'll follow it for the rest of their lives. So I was in pharmaceuticals for about 12 years.
Wow.
Yes. And then hit the glass ceiling and went into the business world for myself, not knowing what I was going to do. And God led me all the way to where I am today.
Start the energy.
Actually, before that, I actually made a little bit of history and became the first African woman to have a Caterpillar rental.
Whoa.
So I had
In the States?
a partnership with Caterpillar to open up a rental, heavy equipment rental.
Wow.
And
In Africa or in the States?
in Africa.
Oh, okay.
And that was opened in Cameroon. It struggled a bit because it needed a lot of financial support. It's highly capital intensive. And one of my mentors said to me, you know, if you can break the concrete ceiling of Caterpillar, you can do very well in oil. And I said, I don't think so. He said, just try it and see what happens. We'll support you. And therein lies my story. Because the same energy, the same zeal, the same effort and persistence that I used with Caterpillar is the same spirit that I brought into the oil sector. And so it's about best practices. Whatever you do it well, have a good reputation at it, because it follows you. I always say, if you do right, you do it for yourself. You are not doing it to help anyone else but you. Because integrity, reliability, honesty, all of those things are bankable documents. It's your wealth. And that's what guarantees sustainability in your business. If you try to do business very fast, you cheat people, you tell lies, you do all of those things, it's going to catch up with you. But if you want to run a race where you run your business with integrity and it follows you, no matter where you go, people will talk. And that will be your point of reference.
Okay.
And so I was very blessed to meet a lot of good mentors. I always say, to be successful, you must stand on the shoulders of other giants. You don't get to do it all alone. You don't do it by yourself. And the other leaders who support you, it's incumbent that you represent them well. People cannot support you and then you go out there and do the wrong things.
She's teaching us a lot, motivating us a lot today for us to also move on, become that big, and achieve our dreams that we've always wanted to achieve. She is Mrs. Beatrice Mensah Tyree. Yes, she's into oil and gas, and then she's into real estate as well and other businesses. So before the oil and gas, was the apartment, or was during the oil and gas when you started your apartment business, real estate business?
Quite honestly, we do get opportunities that come that are outside of oil and gas.
Okay.
And so the answer is yes. Sometimes I get a call, B, we have this opportunity to partner with such and such. And I go back to the fact that it's about best practices. The same principles you would use in your oil and gas sector, the same principles you're going to use in real estate, in water treatment. So yes, in the real estate, it came during our oil and gas operations. We are still running our oil and gas operations, and we're still.
When did you start the
running our real
cyber
estate.
energy?
Cyber started in 2011.
Okay.
Yes, 2011. We got registered. We actually launched first in Cote d'Ivoire. And we own the C124 block in Cote d'Ivoire, which was the first block that Ivory Coast found their first oil. And it used to be run by ExxonMobil. And then, so it's one of the older, it was a marginal block.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So from Cote d'Ivoire, you opened a branch in Ghana and in Chicago?
Yes. I actually decided, because I'm Ghanaian, proud Ghanaian, love Ghana, I decided if I'm going to work around the region, I might as well have my hub, the headquarters, in my home country. And that's how we decided to set up the headquarters in Ghana, because we already had operations in the region.
Okay.
But I always felt like I'd rather be home and then go and come back. Yeah.
As a woman, I mean, how are you doing this? Because most people will think that, oh, this is for the men. I mean, these kind of businesses are for the men. We should leave it for the men. But a tough lady, a strong woman in the midst of the guys or the men doing this, how are you doing it?
You know, I always say, think about when you're in school. You always have girls in class who are excelling, first, top 5, top 10. You always find girls there. Your mothers are always strong, your sisters are strong, but it's a different kind of strength. You see, in corporate, you have to have the right knowledge, just like the men have to have the right knowledge. But it's also about the support. If you know what you're doing, I remembered we're going off a platform in Gabon, and it was really early in the morning, like 6 o'clock, and we got on the boat and had to go off about, I want to say 45 minutes offshore. It was a bit scary. Overalls, everything, the waves were pretty high. And all the guys bet that I was going to fall in the ocean because they're always trying to play tricks on you, right? I said, you know what? You don't know that I'm made of Teflon. And so women have a way of thinking peripherally. So we are visionaries, but we always think around the issues as well. We think of everything that can go wrong. So we are very good risk mitigators. We think of, okay, if this goes wrong, that's the reason that your grandmother, no matter what happens, would always have a last peswa to give you for something, because she's always thinking of the rainy day. You see, so I timed it. When the boat went up, I held on to the ladder. I didn't just jump immediately. I waited for the wave to come back up, and then I held the next, and I went up. And all the guys were like, oh my God, we thought you were going to fall. So at the end of the day, women are really not the weaker race. We're just your partners. That's really who we are. I think that a lot of my friends say I'm an alpha female because majority of my friends are guys. Yeah. And I learn a lot from them. They've been my pillars, they've been my backbone, I actually have more guy friends than my husband. I bring friends to him. Yeah, it's very interesting like that, because I like talking about things that are relevant. I like discussing things that are empowering and things that help in leadership, in empowerment, in encouraging and inspiring. Because at the end of the day, you can only talk so much about handbags and shoes. You know, then what? Yeah. You know? So I can't say I've had a horrible experience. I can say I've been in situations whereby people will underestimate your strength and they think maybe they can take advantage. And when I say take advantage, not necessarily in a personal way, but in a way of either trying to cheat you or trying to think that they are more deserving of being in the boardroom than you are. It's about knowledge is power. Come to the boardroom prepared. Come to the boardroom ready to deliver. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants the projects to be successful. Everyone wants advancement. And so you want the best brains on the table. So once they realize that you've got what it takes, I think all of that disappears. And you become either one of the boys, you become a sister, you just become a partner that you can go to the battlefront with, because you are providing relevance, you are providing value. and you're coming to the table from a position of strength, not a position of competition. And even if you're two guys in a partnership, you still don't have to compete. Your best competition is yourself. Be the best version of yourself, not trying to prove anything to anyone or to knock anyone else down, but just do the right thing. And that's always been my premise. And I think with that, I went into my career not thinking about gender. And when you don't think about it, it doesn't visit you.
That's true. You can follow her on Instagram at BM Tayui, TAYUI, BM Tayui. Follow her on Instagram. A decade in the oil and gas business. I mean, I'm sure every business up and down, up and down. How has it been?
It's been tough, like everything else. You know, we've had a very rough 6 to 7 years in the oil and gas sector. It's been quite a learning experience, but it's for that reason that you understand business cycles. There are times when things are great. It doesn't mean you run around and go buy all the fast cars and buy this and buy that. That's really when you save.
Are you a fan of cars?
I like cars, but you know, it doesn't mean I have to do the wrong thing to get them.
Yeah.
You know, but I love beautiful things. Mm-hmm. I think you should treat yourself, but you should be reasonable.
Yeah.
There's no material thing that's more important than building good, reliable relationships. None. Because there's nothing that you're going to take with you. So it's important to manage your relationships well. It's important to make sure that you live with integrity and you don't try to use material things to create a facade that you cannot back up in your back office. That's very, very important.
That's deep.
Who you are in the front is who you should be in the back. Don't drive a car you cannot afford. Simple.
Don't go and borrow anybody's car. Come and flaunt it on social media. Don't go and borrow anybody's car. You can't register it, and 2 months later you go and change. You come and tell us that you bought another car. No, it's not your car. We know. That's why you couldn't register it. That's what she's just trying to tell you. Don't drive a car you can't afford. Don't go and rent a car 1,000 cedis a day. Drive it for 5 days. You go and give it back to them. No, don't do that. That is what she's trying to tell us. Let me ask you: Do you help young ladies? I mean, do you get young ladies advising them or helping them for us to climb the ladder to be like who you are right now?
Yes. Not just in Chicago. Here, I get a lot of young ladies who come to me, and recently I've been shocked as to what they go through. And I think you young men need to be coming to the table as well, because there's a need for a dialogue. I always try to be encouraging for those that would listen. You can advise,
Yeah.
but people would still do what they want.
I always say that I can only advise you. I can't force
Only
you.
advise you.
Yeah.
I can't make you into something you don't want to be.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed as to how fast the world is changing. I'm really, really amazed. Interestingly enough, I was supposed to have this little meeting here a couple of days ago. And this was with one of my young lady friends who happened to have been, and she and I were talking, and she was asking me how I managed to do what I do. And at a point, as I tried to encourage her, she broke down in tears. And she said, "Auntie, we've done all the right things. We followed the values that our parents raised us with. But it almost seems like the guys now want the bad girls and not the good girls, because it seems like there's a mockery on being a good girl." And I was really amazed by that, because the question becomes, who do you want your daughter to be? How do you want your daughter to present to the world? You know, and how is it that the narrative has so changed that anything goes? We as a people, the one thing I know, that we Ghanaians have always been honorable people. We've always had that sense of pride. And there's a difference between self-pride and arrogance. That sense of pride meant we had a strong tradition, we had a strong culture, I say to the women, we're the neck and not the head. I never ever want to be the head of my household. This is too much. I don't want that. That responsibility is a lot. But being the neck means you support, you direct. When you have a stiff neck, you don't know where to turn. You know, our husbands need us, our leaders need us, our significant others need us, but in a good way, not in a competitive way, not in a way to put the next person down. Everyone needs encouragement. Everyone. And so I say, let's not go into social media and present ourselves as women that our parents did not raise us to be. Just because we're trying to copy things from the West that are not applicable to us. Because you see, they are not trying to copy from us. They're being themselves, and that works with them. We have to be who we've been called to be. And that means follow those values from home. Your parents are your first examples. They're your first teachers. Don't do what your parents would be embarrassed by. It's that simple. And so have the knowledge, but I always say, yes, God also prepares you for the right man. I have lots of guy friends, so they too are looking for the right women. Because there's this cutthroat thing, I'll talk to the guy any kind of way, I'll be disrespectful. That's not us. That's not us at all. There comes a time when you must stand your ground. And the stand your ground rule applies only at a time when things are extreme. When someone wants to take advantage of you, when someone feels like they could run over you and abuse you, that's not acceptable. But as a Ghanaian woman, as African women, we are called to be nurturing. We are called to be caring. We're called to be encouraging. We're not called to cut down our brothers. We're not called to cut down our husbands, our partners. No. It's in extreme cases, because we do have it in us. But it only comes out when we feel like either we're being taken for granted or being abused, which hardly happens. And so I say to the younger women, your education is your bank. Your parents sent you to school just the same way they send your brothers to school. So they will expect the best from you. There's no shortchanging yourself when you're educated. I always say by the time you're 90, you're not going to be thinking about being cute. So, but your knowledge will still be impactful. Your confidence will be impactful. And that really is what is sexy. Sexy is confidence. Sexy is knowledge. And you should be in a position whereby, should anything happen to your husband or your significant other, you can hold the fort. You can hold that house. And you can hold the home in a way that people outside would never know that anything happened to your husband. You be that backbone, and no one would ever know.
Thank you very much. So let me go and search for money. When I come, we will talk Clinton, Bush, Obama, Joe Biden. My name is Zionfelix. I'll be right back.
Ago, adofo me chiamo. It is saying me did the mama say one. I me was tempted de be catcher. What a tap sending car. Debbie. What's it say? Nana was a hen. My main can't share way. Tap send. App. I'll bet me out good phone so. Now wo baby a wo Europe wuti mi send sika ko Ghana e koma wa dofo intentem hona. Na se omo moji sika no so omo MTN so Vodafone Tigo ana se Airtel so a omo benya sika no intentem hona. Na de wo mu kra ne se fees bia anka ho. Untuye fees bia and exchange rate no so was so kama or iPhone and I say what Android that you be yana say obeko app store no na wa hwehwe tap send Charlie me say menye ja ho me say tapo na send
Welcome back. One of the few reasons why I wanted to talk to her was what I'm going to talk about right now. I saw pictures of her with almost like everybody who matter on this planet. I mean, when you go to America, I mean, America is the country or the capital of the world, and she's met almost like everybody who matter in America, everybody who matter in Ghana. Let's start from America. We come back to Ghana. I mean, I've seen you with almost all the past presidents of America and even the current presidents. How? What business were you doing with them?
What business was I doing with them? Very interesting. Very interesting. It wasn't necessarily business. I want to say my social circle happened to have been in the same social circle. And I'm not so sure why God put me in the same social circle, but this is way back in my 20s, 30s. And I figured there must be a reason, because it almost seemed like the spirit that was guiding me was the same spirit that was guiding them. And so I had a partner and a really, really, really close friend, Kevin Conlon, David Wilhelm. David was the chairman of the DNC, and Kevin was literally my brother from a different mother. And each time we'll go out, here's a white gentleman and here's me and everybody, and I say, and we're like, hey, we're brother and sister, and everybody thinks it's
weird.
It's weird. But they were really much entrenched in politics. And so they were my mentors, and they literally pulled me into it. Because you see, in the US, it's social gatherings, it's political gatherings, it's consistent. It's just not during election time. And they taught me how to support a campaign and be a part of leadership without necessarily being into politics day in, day out. So I happen to have been on the business side of leadership. And so you can see that there is a fusion between the business leaders and the political leaders. And essentially, you become friends. And so with the Clintons, through David and Kevin, who were my partners, my mentors, they were very close to the Clintons. They worked with the Clintons, and that's how I got introduced into that space. And it just carried on forever to this day.
Wow.
And they liked who I was, liked who I stood for. And I always say, when you wash your hands, you will dine with kings.
That's true.
Because you don't come in there and mess up. You come in there because they've seen something in you of their leadership capacity as well that they too can respect. And so I supported the Clinton Foundation, supported their campaign, and worked in the Hillary Clinton campaign, in the finance committee, in the steering committee, and I learned a lot. I got to understand the strategies. I got to understand the boiler room. I got to understand what you would not see on TV. And it's been an amazing journey. I tend not to talk a lot and to talk a lot about myself because I'm by nature a modest person. So I'm actually shocked that I'm sitting here.
I know.
So same thing. And these are all Chicago bred. I know President Obama always comes up in the discussion. Vice President Biden then. It's all about supporting them, being a part. The kids went to lab school, the same school that President Obama's kids went to. We all had the same friends. We were all friends way before he became senator.
Okay.
So I remember supporting before he became senator. Then he was still an attorney. And we're all in the same social circle, all same friends. Because at a certain point, it's like every place else. You know, everybody is in this little, I don't want to call it a clique. I want to call it a circle. And it's trust. It's that you're dependable. They know they too can lean on you, because we forget that our leaders also need strong people they can lean on. People who would not embarrass them. People who would actually also tell them the truth that they cannot necessarily get to. Who can give them field intelligence and say, you know, this right here is not, this is really how the temperature is out there.
Bringing that in, I mean, some youth of today, I mean, believe that, I mean, life is right now is all about, I mean, going, showing yourselves on social media, getting the likes, getting the views, and that is it. What will you tell such people? Since you are saying that, I mean, the big people also need strong people to lean on.
I'm so really shocked by that. And I think that it's a different form of addiction. I actually have come to realize that our youth need to wake up before they wake up 10 years from now and realize they must have gone down the wrong path. There's nothing wrong with social media, but it's a virtual world. I call it a city with no police. That is not reality. That's a phantom of your reality. And so at the end of the day, if it's not making money for you, get a real job and do that as fun. I'm not saying, but start to calculate how much time you spend on that. You can go in and get things that are relevant and get back out. But don't make it become, so the person who was liking you, do you know them? Is that really a true liking you? And there are ones who will get inspired by you. It's a place to learn. It shouldn't be a place to go and be hostile, a place to go and disrespect anyone, a place to go and disrespect yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're talking to the world. And when I'm hiring people, I go in there and you can tell a person's personality just by looking at how they communicate on social media. Are they respectful? Are they too showy? Are they craving too much attention? Because that in and of itself is a complex. When you crave so much attention that you're willing to do anything for the attention. Now, that attention is a virtual attention. If at the end of the day you come back and you cannot pay your bills, who the hell are you lying to? You're lying to yourself. And so what I say to the youth, get in touch with reality. Because when the rubber meets the road, someone needs to pay those bills for you. Yeah. And social media is not going to pay it. Don't have people lie to you. I like you. I like you. So what? Yes, it's great to like you. It's the I like you means I may like your style. I may be inspired by your style. It's wonderful. You may inspire me to do better. But get up and go do better. Just don't say it and click and come back to the phone. It's about action. Your words must be backed by action. And so we want to lead a next generation that would represent by action, not by what they think they want the world to think that they are. It's not what people think that you are, it's who you are. You must have that transparency. When someone tells me, oh, I met this person who say they know you, I'm not concerned because I know it's going to be consistent across the board. But there are certain people whom, when you meet someone who says they know them, it's also consistently negative. So it stands to reason that they must understand you are your own best friend and you are your own worst enemy. If you go and put things out there that cannot be backed up by facts, at the end of the day, you are the biggest loser because it's going to be fact checked. You are not going to live in a Donald Trump world whereby you think that you have a monopoly to your own set of facts. It doesn't work that way because people do talk and they will share information. And if at the end of the day that due diligence is done and what you present out there is not who you are, it's going to hurt you more than it benefits you.
We'll finish the conversation with your family, but before then, let me know three. How should I put it? I mean, 3 guidelines that you use to operate your life. I mean, your life, business, so that we can also pick 1 or 2 from it.
Yes. The first guideline really is prayer. You must be very prayerful and very discerning because the world has become very, very predatory. Everybody wants to make fast money, and so they'll come and lie to you. You see, they'll tell you what they cannot back up. And so you must be very prayerful for God to order your steps. Don't try to be who you're not. The Bible says, before you were born, he knew you in your mother's womb. That means that he has already shaped your destiny. And blessings delayed are not blessings denied. So don't get ahead of yourself. And I manage myself accordingly. The best thing that ever happened to me was my husband. I always give credit to him because without him, I wouldn't be who I am. He's the wind beneath my wings. He's the silent giant. Our personalities are very diametrically opposed. He's very laid back, but a powerful giant who just allows me to be myself because he's that secure. And he knows that whatever I do is for the greater glory of God and for the family, not for myself. He knows I'm not a selfish person. And so you must always be transparent with your family because they are your biggest support. Without a solid family backdrop, it's almost impossible to do well in business. That's why when you look at leaders, look at their wives. When you find a leader who's got a solid wife, you would see that he's always going to do well because women always provide that wisdom at home, that guide and propel. And so it's important to have a spouse that doesn't need to compete for that same space. We do totally different things. He's a medical doctor. I'm in business. So in his mind, it's about my patients. You know, sometimes I'll bring a contract to him and I say, look at this, I need your opinion. Oh, I think it looks nice. I'll be like, I don't think you really looked at it. And that used to frustrate me until one day God said to me, I didn't ask him to be your business partner. I asked him to be your husband. So don't bother him with all your business things. He supports you to be the best business person that you can be. But you know how to choose everything that you do wisely. Choose your friends wisely. I'd rather have 2 friends who can tell me like it is than 100 friends who lie to me. Because what I found out also that we've become in Ghana is the headquarters of pretentiousness. We want to pretend. We say no when we mean yes. We say yes when we mean no. That is a horrible state of affairs. And I'm one of those people whom what you see is what you get. If I say yes, I mean yes. If I say no, I mean no. There's no gray area in the middle. And so stay prayerful. Surround yourself with the right people. Don't feel like you have to belong. There's nothing to belong to. Because if that thing changes, then what? Don't feel like you need to please the world. What you need to do is show the world who you are. God created each one of us very uniquely. Be your unique self, because that in and of itself is a gift. And so if we all were Siamese twins, then we really don't have too much to offer. So that's 2. And the third is just allow God to order your steps. And I'm saying this as a business person, because sometimes we feel as though when you're in business, you don't need God. It is then that you need him even more, because you're going to come across all kinds of people. You're going to come across liars. You're going to come across people with almost demonic spirits, and you're going to come across divine helpers that God has sent your way. Some of them may be in politics, some may be in business, some may be in corporate. Be discerning. When you are discerning, you will know. Pray about people you meet. And I can't tell you that I've always followed those same steps. There are people whom I've trusted and whom I've been shocked as to how they've acted. And so it creates a situation whereby the next person that comes along, your walls come up. And it's for that reason that not everybody who talks about God knows God. Watch their actions, not their words.
Last part, the family. How many kids do you have?
3.
3 kids.
Yes.
How many boys, how many girls?
1 boy, who's my miracle baby, and 2 girls.
Oh, okay.
And I call him a miracle because he was born at 1 pound, 12 ounces. He was 4 months premature and given a 5% chance to live.
Oh.
And a 2% chance to live and be okay. And so it was the most trying time in my life. I shut down my business for a year, and I told the doctors, I said, you know what? You do what you need to do. I'm going to go to God for my answers. He was not even up to 1 kilo. And in the first 2 weeks of life, he needed to have heart surgery.
First 2 weeks?
First 2 weeks. He was not even 1 pound. Yeah. No. He was 1 pound, 12 ounces. And then he lost some weight and was like 1 pound, 7 ounces. So it was not even 1 kilo. I had to have heart surgery. But I can tell you, I had to ask God, why did this happen? Because there was no medical reason. And he said, my miracles go untold. And I said, so why are you telling me?
Why don't you do it?
Why are you telling me? He said, I need you to be a voice. And I need you to be that voice that can empower others. And so I gained strength from that day. And after 4 months of being in the NICU, that's the neonatal ICU, driving back and forth to the hospital for 4 months every day, telling him, I will bring you home. I finally brought him home. And he's never, ever needed to go back to the hospital.
Wow.
And I got to understand the meaning of my miracles go untold. Because sometimes we make it's technology, it's information, but you can have all the technology. If God had said William was not going to live, he would not have lived. And so he's the miracle boy, not because he's the only boy, but because of how he came into the world.
That's true.
And he's got the most beautiful spirit and just lights up my world. And I'm very proud of him.
And you have Chelsea.
He
I know
survived.
Chelsea.
I have Chelsea. Chelsea is the middle child, actually.
Who's the firstborn?
Firstborn is Clarice, and she's in Chicago.
Okay.
And she works very fervently for the Biden campaign. And so they're now in post-campaign mode and going through all the assignments, who's going to work where. I'm very, very proud of her. I remembered one time when she had gained a lot of weight and she decided she was going to lose it. It takes a lot of discipline. And I tell you, this girl can exercise like no one else that I know. And, all of a sudden, within a 6-month period, she had lost the weight. And she's another one who's a naturally happy person. So she gets that from me, and she's doing great things. There are lots of times when she just she is her own person. And she does what she likes to do, which is great. But at the same time, she still comes back for guidance. She's the one who can go for about, I want to say, 3 weeks without calling me. Unlike Chelsea, who...
Chelsea's my mommy's girl.
Yes. From when she was a baby, if she didn't see me, it's like her life was incomplete. And even before William was born, I remember when I was expecting William, she would come into my bed and talk to him. And then when he was born, now he started pushing Chelsea away, like, go, Chelsea. What are you still doing here? But Chelsea's the one who, stays very close, wants to learn, and she wants to be almost, I think she's sort of amazed by me in a way. Like, how do you get all this done? And so I see her wanting to learn and to still be her own person, but learn the right ropes, not having to compromise and become the best version of herself. Sometimes she struggles with it because she's extremely sensitive. And I tell her, if you're sensitive in this world, you're just going to make yourself unhappy for no reason. Know that people don't mean any harm. Sometimes they do, but so what? You know who you are. You know what you're about. And Clarice actually is the less sensitive one. She has that independence, and you can say something that she doesn't necessarily like, and she shoves it off. Meanwhile, Chelsea will be like, I didn't like this and I didn't like that. And I'm like, it's all right. So that's the role of a mom. You are the coach, you're the psychologist, you're the chef, you're the guide, you're everything. And it's a role that's a blessing. God put us into this world for that. And so I always say to mothers, enjoy it, because there's going to come a time when they would not need you. But to the extent that they're still coming to you for guidance, it means that they see something that you're doing that's right. If your child didn't think what you stood for or your value system was right, they won't come to you. They will run to social media, and even if they run out there and pick up something wrong, you must be there to cleanse it for them.
Miss Chelsea Taiwi happens to be the winning queen for Miss Universe Ghana. She's the second born. Why did you allow her to go into that contest? I mean, you're a big business tycoon, oil and gas, and you allowed your lady to, your second born, to partake in beauty pageant, where people say that, I mean, ladies who enter into a whole lot of thoughts about them. And you're a very quiet lady, quiet woman too.
I actually didn't, because I also had certain perception. From when she was a baby, she was always camera ready. And I would go to the mall with her. People would call me, oh, we want her to model in this. I said, no. In our family, we're either lawyers or doctors, nothing in between. So I'm sorry, we do reading, writing, arithmetic, nothing else. However, if this is what God wants for her, it's going to come back. And so later on, in her teen years, it started to come back. They started writing to her again. And she brought it to me. And I said, oh, I don't even understand that word. I don't know what it's about. So I can't support what I don't know. And then she said, okay. And she was very compliant then. Okay, if you don't want me to do it, I won't do it. First year. Second year, they sent it again. Third year, they sent it. The fourth year, she just came to me and something changed in my spirit. And what had changed was everyone's got their own destiny. And don't be in the way of her destiny. So allow her to try it out. This was in Chicago. And then get it out of the way. Maybe sometimes she just needs to prove to herself that she could do it. Or because it had been coming from when she was a baby, maybe God has something in there for her. So why do you want to stand in the way of it? And I remembered one day when she came to me and she said, can I borrow you for 2 hours? And I go, what's the meaning of can I borrow you for 2 hours? And I said, okay. And she drove me like 2 hours away to where she had found this amazing gown. She had done all the homework for herself and had planned for Miss Illinois. And I said, you know what? This kid has put in so much effort. If I don't support it, then it's wrong as a parent. Because it's not about us finding our own dreams through our children. It's about us guiding them to their best potential. And when I got there and I saw how much she had done, I said, this is my gift to you, to support you to get this done. But what was interesting was that when we got to the pageant, there was something that was so natural about the way she was, about the way she smiled, about the way she just walked on stage. And I said, there is no way I would be in those high heels and that amount of light. I mean, how do they do it? But you see, our 5 fingers are all the same. And then I started to research the pageant world. And what I want to say to Africa, we've done these ladies a disfavor. Because they're not all about beauty. They're about brain. And so if we continue to see them as objects of beauty, something is wrong with us as a society. Go to Singapore, go to India, go to the Philippines. Beauty pageants are one of the most respected industries. They have schools for it. It is a business. It is not something to be cute about. You are your country's ambassador for compassion. You are your country's ambassador for philanthropy. You are your country's ambassador for social work. And so we seem to be the ones who think it's about your body. A woman is bigger than her body. A woman is bigger than her beauty. And so we crown a queen. A queen is supposed to be out there representing the nation. Not for guys to be looking at her thinking, oh, you look at it, how cute. No. It's about you respecting someone who's an ambassador to what your flag stands for. It's a social ambassador. And so it's for that reason that we don't get the kind of sponsorship we're supposed to get. Meanwhile, these other countries are putting women out there who are beating us out all the time because they have sponsorships. We sit down and we look at what's wrong. We become catty, we become gossipy. Meanwhile, other countries, the winning queen wins millions of dollars. $1 million is given to their cause. That comes back to their country. We don't seem to even try to understand that. We seem to think it's about somebody you can date. Absolutely not. It's about someone you can respect. It's about someone who has chosen to represent their country. And so we need to learn from India. We need to learn from the Philippines. We need to learn that beauty goes beyond skin deep and show respect and honor. And once we start to do that, we will start to educate ourselves. I had to educate myself because I also had some preconceived notions. Yeah. I actually kind of thought it was for girls who were not interested in school. Seriously. But I knew how intelligent Chelsea was. She's a pre-med student. Oh. And so she had gone into medicine, into pre-med. And she said, I'm not enjoying this. I said, well, do whatever you enjoy, because whatever you enjoy, once you do that, you'll be operating in your gifts. And so when she did that, she changed her major to communications and tested for communications and tested as a genius. And then I decided to start listening to her when she would MC an event or she would do a presentation. I go, wow, this is really way above the pay grade. I realized in communications, she was quite excellent. And you see, I would have cheated her by forcing her to be in medicine like her father. I would have cheated her from not going into pageantry and coming into oil and gas like I did, like me. Everyone has their own calling. I knew you from when you were in your mother's womb. So whoever you're called to be, we are not allowed to disrespect any other person's career. So for the person who's sweeping the street, we need to allow them to sweep it with dignity. We need to respect them while they're doing that. For the person who decides they want to go into pageantry, we need to respect that. For the one who decides they want to be a doctor, we need to respect that. We need to respect the trotro driver, the street seller.
Everybody.
Everybody. It's about respect and honor.
Thank you very much for opening your doors for me.
Thank you
I really
too.
enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you too.
I spoke to Mrs. Beatrice Mensah, Tyree. She has Beatrice Mensah. She has 3 kids and she happens to be the Chief Executive Officer, Cyber Energy. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Zionfelix. Bye-bye.
Grace Gift Herbal Clinic. Aye bio. Intimate to me anyem.
Grace Gift Herbal Clinic dear. Sanya ya kra na ka se ya ready for entafo a. Anka nu anko de ma wo no. Anko amoa nyimienu ni mensa kra na ka guguyem. Abo de wote te kra o.
We yi ya na fiance nkruma.
Asem da ko bosu.
Na me no ko dai. Oma wedro hwese wo niam yaye. Heavy say. Grace Gift Herbal Clinic.
Dr. Grace Bodui na nimu tie. Na se professional nurse ya. Wonye suahunu saa ma wono a bebie ne herbal clinic. Wo ya afo ho da je. Na nimu bo so boko. Ense won mo ma wawo. Ya debiti say ulcer, malaria, typhoid, BP, diabetes, stroke, hypertension de akeka ho no mo de. Grace Gift Herbal Clinic. Ayen mfitile kura. Wo Kumasi Oshim School Junction.
Aya form friend na won ko hoye 0246 518 003 and 0206 812 558.
Grace Gift Herbal Clinic. Bien ni how bio.